Back in 2011, our next guest wowed the world with her critically acclaimed debut, Pariah. And for her latest project, she's setting her sights on the Empress of the Blues. Let's take a look.
I want to know, would you still love me?
You still be you.
And how would you know that?
You know how I feel.
Then I need you to say it.
You know.
No, I don't know.
You know.
Then say it.
It wouldn't matter.
It wouldn't matter what.
It wouldn't matter about your color.
Wow, I cannot wait for that movie. And joining us now to discuss the HBO original film Bessie, starring Queen Latifah, is director Dee Rees. Welcome to Arise 360.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Wow.
I'm excited to be here.
This film looks incredible. Why was it important for you to bring Bessie Smith's life to the screen?
You know, I felt really a kinship with just her as an artist. You know, I'm from Tennessee, she's from Tennessee, and here was this woman who, in a time where she's not supposed to be there, where she's not supposed to exist, where she's not supposed to define her own, existence, she did it. And so just on that alone, I was like in love with her character and wanted to be a part of it, yeah.
Now, is it true that this film is 22 years in the making?
It is, yeah. So this film has been through like many studios, like many writers, and I came on in 2012. And Queen Latifah was attached, and it was like, my agent approached me, do you want to write this film about Bessie Smith? And I was like, hell yeah. And then 2 years in the trenches, like, well, do you want to direct it? I'm like, hell yeah. So it was like a dream come true. I really was writing it with a director's eye, and I really wanted to tell her story from the personal perspective and not just from, the objective, so we really wanted to oscillate between the personal and the public, and to show how this really, public person, this really political person actually, had a lot of demons inside, and someone who struggled to kind of find her own love and happiness, and yeah.
Now, from the clips alone, it looks like Queen Latifah really inhabits this role. Talk to us about what it was like to work with her, and was she Bessie?
She was Bessie. She was amazing to work with. She was immersing herself in material constantly. Like, we would do these relationship workshops in my office, so I'd have her and Monique in a room just bouncing off each other, making up stories, in character. I'd say, tell me a story from the road, and so they'd be talking about their exploits on the road and their war stories and getting money out of theater owners. And with she and Tika Sumter, who's amazing as Lucille, had them say, talk about what was your first date like, or what's your best memory. And it didn't have to be the same memory, but I really just love working the relationships and have the actors kind of build that chemistry offset. So when we get on set, it's there. They know what the relationship's about. And Candy Alexander, the same thing. I had them in in each other's face, screaming at each other. So when you cut to that shot of home, it's like tension,
Do you think that's what female filmmakers bring to their work, the ability to sort of understand the importance of the nuance in a relationship and to promote those?
Yeah, and I think every director works differently, you find that kind of core. And so I think for some films, it's the plot, it's the context that's making it happen. In this film, it's like the contextualization of her in this kind of post-emancipation world, kind of making her way. And it's also these relationships, these three lovers. She's got Jack G, she's got Richard, she's got Lucille. And it's about how she's being kind of pulled in different directions by different people who want things from her, And this woman who, my take on Bessie was that she was unable to let herself be loved completely, and maybe unable to love completely except on stage. So then what does that look like? What does that look like when she goes home and has to confront herself?
But she always loved her music, and I know Queen re-recorded many of her most famous songs for this film. So talk to us about the importance that music plays in this movie.
Yeah, so I really wanted the music to not just be a playing of her top hits, but the music really kind of sets out her emotional inner life. So, for example,
it's another character.
Exactly, yeah. So we start with Young Women's Blues, which is a song people may not know, but it's a song that is kind of this personal manifesto of this is who I am, this is who I'm not. And, then throughout the film, we kind of see her contradict and kind of manifest that in, songs like Preaching the Blues, where the big tent show, I wanted it to feel evangelical. And it's she stood down the Klan, and she's using the language of the church to talk about, sexual empowerment, and to show how the music is everybody's. It's like a call and response. The audience is in it, Bessie's in it, and it's like everybody's song. And so the music really, lets you know where Bessie is internally. It's like a barometer of where she is. And Along Old Road we use as a motif, it comes back to this idea of a journey, of a optimism, I'm not there yet, but I'm going to to keep trying. So
I'm going to get there.
Yeah, exactly.
Can we talk about the costumes?
Yeah.
Oh, it just looks so glamorous. Were you like a kid in a candy store,
I
just
was.
rifling through all those sparkles and such?
It was insane. So Michael Boyd was a costume designer, and he put his foot in it. I mean, he showed up with like a truck of his own supply. Celinda Nesmith was one of the lead seamstresses, and they really custom made these costumes to these women. And we really, with the costumes, wanted to show, an arc in her life. So in the first act, it looks like she did her own costume. Looks like she found some curtain pieces and made it happen. It's like vaudeville. It's like ragtag. It's like Fast and Furious. And then like in the second act, everything is gilded. Like metallics are coming into the palette. And then like in the third act, it's like pastels, like colors from nature, showing Bessie more in harmony with her world versus kind of like, dominating it. And so the costumes are great. And, Latifah and Monique, they were so game. They were game to go there. And they came alive with the costumes. It was great.
Now, before you go, can we please talk about Pariah, your debut film? It was following the life of a 17-year-old African-American girl who was really struggling with her sexuality and finding herself. What was it like for you, especially as a young, early film director, to take on such a sensitive topic at that time and just kind of stir the pot a little bit?
Yeah, it was funny because I initially wrote Pariah, we wrote it, I think I wrote like 5 years before we ended up shooting it, and I wrote it as I was going through my own kind of coming out process. So Pariah was a catharsis in a way, even though I'm from Tennessee. I'm not from Brooklyn. I didn't come out when I was a teen. It was a way for me to kind of talk about this experience in a way that I think, was able to connect with people. And like when I was living in Brooklyn, I was amazed to see these teenagers out, and I was like, oh my God, I would never see this, growing up in Nashville. So taking that on was scary because, you're letting people in, like you're showing people a part of you. So it was vulnerable in that way, but it's also like when it was done, it was so fulfilling. And we did, it was a labor of love. And then to work on this,
paid
the
off.
scale,
Yeah, it paid off massively.
Totally.
I mean, Meryl Streep is giving you a shout out from the stage.
I love that. And I love that she shouted out Ada Perro,
Yeah.
Ada Perro Dulier, who's an amazing actress. And I can't wait to work with her again. I want to see her more. Yeah.
So what's next for you?
Yeah, so I'm working on a miniseries for FX, like writing and hopefully directing that, and then an adaptation of a book I'm really excited about. I don't want to jinx it, but yeah, we'll see.
Well, when it all comes out and happens, because we know it will,
Yes.
please come back and share it with our audience.
For sure.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
We have to make sure everyone
Same here.
knows that Bessie premieres on HBO on May 16th, so definitely check that out. We will be there watching.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And we'll be right back.